Imagine a single object drifting through the dark of interstellar space for billions of years. No star guiding it. No system claiming it. Just a silent traveler cutting across the galaxy until, without warning, it crosses a path that leads straight toward our solar system. Astronomers expect noise when something like that arrives. Bright flashes. Urgent updates. But this time, the sky stayed quiet. The telescopes stayed calm. And 3I Atlas slipped into our cosmic neighborhood almost as if it wanted to go unnoticed. Most news outlets told just one simple line that an interstellar comet had been found. Neat. Clean. Wrapped up like the story was already over. But the truth is heavier than the headline. Behind the scenes was a trail of strange data, unanswered questions, and scientific hesitation that never quite reached the front page. You may think you already know the story of 3I Atlas, a comet from another star passing through our sky. But stay with me for a moment. Most of what matters was never spoken out loud. And once you see the full picture, you might wonder why the silence lasted so long. The story of 3I Atlas truly began on a quiet night in Chile, when the Atlas survey picked up a faint streak of light that didn't belong to any known object. At first it looked like just another dot drifting across the sky. But when astronomers ran the orbital calculations, everything shifted. The path didn't curve, like a comet bound to the sun. It refused to close, stretching outward in a shape that could only mean one thing. This object was not from here. A hyperbolic orbit is the signature of a visitor from beyond the solar system. A traveler that never belonged to our gravitational family? That is how it earned its name 3I. The third confirmed interstellar object after Oumuamua and Borisov. But even in those first days, something felt different. The brightness. The early measurements, the behavior of the object hinted at a larger, stranger story, and the deeper astronomers looked, the more they sensed that the discovery was only the surface of something far more complex. The telescopes had found the visitor, but almost no one was prepared to explain what they had truly seen. The discovery was only the beginning, because hidden inside those first observations was a clue no one talked about. When researchers refined the trajectory of 3I Atlas, the object grew even stranger. Its orbit was stretched to an extreme, with an eccentricity far higher than ordinary comets. And it entered the solar system at a speed that didn't match anything born within it. More surprising still was its arrival direction. Instead of coming from the expected northern region of the sky, Atlas approached from the south, along the galactic plane near the direction of Sagittarius, almost as if it had drifted in from the deeper regions toward the Milky Way's core. That unexpected path challenged long-held assumptions about how interstellar objects move, yet the most astonishing insight came from modeling its age. Based on its speed and motion through the galaxy, Atlas may be 7 to 8 billion years old. Older than the Sun, older than Earth, older than every world we know. A remnant from a forgotten star system, shaped in an era when our own solar system did not yet exist. A fossil of cosmic time arriving unannounced at our doorstep. A traveler born long before our sun, carrying a history older than our entire system. But its true origin raises a question no headline dared to ask. Are we sure we know where it really came from? When 3I Atlas crossed the invisible boundary of the solar system, it didn't stay quiet for long. As sunlight reached its surface, the object began to wake up. A faint coma formed first. A soft halo of dust and gas that wrapped around the nucleus. Moments later, a slender tail emerged, stretching behind it, as if the traveler had begun to leave footprints in the light. To any astronomer, these were the classic signs of a comet coming alive. But what the larger telescope saw next pushed Atlas into a category of its own. The James Webb Space Telescope detected a coma unusually rich in carbon dioxide, along with water vapor, carbon monoxide, OCS, icy grains, and dust particles. The surprise wasn't the ingredients, but the proportions. The ratio of carbon dioxide to water was far higher than what scientists expect from comets in our own system at similar distances from the Sun. It hinted at an environment of origin that was colder, stranger, and chemically different from anything familiar. Atlas wasn't behaving like a comet raised by our Sun. It carried a chemical fingerprint that belonged somewhere else entirely. Gas. Ice and dust were only the surface. Beneath that pale grey glow was a pattern that didn't match any known family of comets. Something else was hiding inside the haze. As soon as 3I Atlas was confirmed to be interstellar, the scientific conversation split into two paths. One branch accepted it as a comet from another star. The other, led by voices like Avi Loeb, suggested a more unsettling possibility. What if this wasn't a comet at all? What if it was an artificial object? A relic or probe from a distant civilization drifting through space far longer than humanity has existed? The idea wasn't born from fantasy. It came from the numbers. The orbit was unusually extreme. The shape and brightness measurements implied that the object could be much larger than previous interstellar visitors, possibly exceeding 10 kilometers across, which raised eyebrows even among cautious astronomers. And then came the oddities. Variations in color, hints of unexpected emissions, tiny fluctuations in motion that some said felt too deliberate for a simple block of ice and rock. Each anomaly by itself was easy to explain away. Together, they painted a picture that felt harder to dismiss. So the debate grew louder. Was Atlas just a comet behaving strangely? Or was it something built? Something ancient? Something that had traveled across the galaxy with a purpose we could not yet see? And if there was even a chance it was a probe, why were experts so quick to shut the idea down? The speed of that dismissal created its own mystery. After 3I Atlas was discovered, something unexpected happened. The United States government shutdown created a gap in scientific work, delaying data analysis and slowing the release of early observations. For an object this unusual, even a short pause felt like an eternity. When operations resumed, NASA released a clean and confident message that Atlas was simply an interstellar comet. They published images across visible light, infrared and ultraviolet wavelengths, and dismissed any talk of artificial origin. But what many expected to follow never came. There were no detailed explanations about the strange chemistry, the color shifts, the unusual trajectory, or the inconsistencies people had been pointing out since day one. The message was clear and simple. Atlas is natural. Case closed. Yet the unanswered details remained in the shadows, untouched. They said everything was clear. But is clarity the same as honesty? The deeper scientific papers told a far more complicated story. JWST observations revealed a coma with an unusually high ratio of carbon dioxide to water, implying that Atlas may have formed in a region of its home system far colder than anything we see here. Spectral studies showed its color shifting over time, from a reddish tint to a tone closer to sunlight, along with the appearance of an anti-solar tail, a sign that its dust and ice grains were changing in unexpected ways. A modeling study placed Atlas within the broader population of interstellar objects and found its velocity and radiant aligned with predictions for ancient wanderers drifting through the Milky Way. The results suggested an age of more than 7.6 billion years, older than our Sun by a significant margin. Atlas was not just a visitor, it was a survivor. We have the data, but do we truly understand it well enough to say with confidence that Atlas is just a comet? The more scientists dug into Atlas, the more questions appeared. Why was the carbon dioxide content so high compared to water? It could hint at an origin environment drastically different from that of typical comets. Why did its color change so dramatically? Why did its light emissions fluctuate? Why did its tail and coma behave in patterns that seem to defy the usual heating and outgassing physics we know? And why did official agencies rush to declare the object natural, while speaking so little about the anomalies? Perhaps to avoid public fear. Perhaps to prevent the narrative from spiraling into speculation. Or perhaps because they did not yet have answers, they felt comfortable sharing. Some details never make it into official reports. That doesn't mean they aren't worth chasing. The safe explanation is that Atlas is a carbon dioxide-rich body formed in an extremely cold region around its original star. That alone would make it unusual compared to local comets. But the alternative theories refuse to disappear. Some scientists argue that the orbit, the size estimates, and the light behavior leave room for the possibility that Atlas could be artificial. A probe, a derelict craft, a fragment of technology from a civilization that lived and died long before Earth's continents settled into place. And if that were true, something else becomes unsettling. Why was it quiet? Was it damaged after millions of years of travel? Was it in a dormant state, or was it never meant to send a signal in the first place? A relic drifting through space until someone noticed. If this was a message from somewhere else, then 3I Atlas might have only just begun to speak. Most headlines stuck to the safest version of the story. Discovery, confirmation, classification, a neat arc that ended with the label Interstellar Comet, but the deeper layers rarely made it past scientific journals. Spectral anomalies, chemical imbalances, tail variations, and color shifts simply don't fit into quick news cycles without raising uncomfortable questions. Agencies like NASA and ESA have to balance scientific accuracy with public perception, and shutting down exotic theories helps them maintain stability and credibility. Yet that same caution leaves gaps in public understanding. The result is a story that feels complete on the surface while hiding its most intriguing details underneath. People think the mystery is solved because the headlines stopped, but the science never did. You've heard the official version, but have you truly heard the full story? Or is the rest still waiting for you to ask the right questions?